The sporting event I'm going to research is the Rugby Union Super 15. It involves 15 teams and has been running for almost 17 years. The parties involved in this event include the sponsors, spectators, players, politicians, team officials, and many more. 5 teams from Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa participate in this competition, and the location of these games are in each of these countries. In this presentation, I'll be analysing the significance of the sporting event on ourselves, others, and society by looking at societal, economic, and cultural factors. The term social concerns people, their opinions, and their interactions. The Super 15 is socially a significant event, and there are a number of viewpoints that reflect this. For example, spectators are advantaged socially as they have a chance to develop self-identity. Some buy merchandise to reflect this. This shows that they are passionate about their team and country. It makes them feel involved as they are part of something that is bigger than themselves. A Chiefs supporter commented that they would be buying jerseys as they felt as though it brings everyone closer together as a community. This is an advantage to your spiritual well-being, as you develop a sense of belonging and you get to interact with others who have the same interests. This means you feel socially accepted and you develop great social skills. Spectators can also be disadvantaged socially, as they may not be able to afford tickets to the matches or Sky subscriptions, which allow you to access live coverage of every game. This means that they may not be able to experience the atmosphere with friends and families and socialise less. As rugby is such a big sport in New Zealand, it means it is highly respected. If you may not have the same respect or interest for it, you may be excluded from events or celebrations, which can have a negative effect on your horoa. For me personally, I believe this event is a great way to socialise and catch up with friends and family. I feel proud when I'm wearing my team colours and supporting my team. In the future, I would like to see more rugby-based events like free public screenings in local parks or community centres. This will mean that families that are less fortunate can get together and watch some games. There are a number of people advantaged socially by the Super 15. For example, players, cheerleaders, and coaches are advantaged as great career opportunities come through sport, and through this career, you can establish a friend network of people who are in the same industry. My family and friends believe that playing in team sports and joining sports club have a great impact socially. Amy Lita believes that when she plays for a club, she develops a new network of friends. I feel like I have more people to help and support me when I have a variety of different friends. Reasons why my families and friends have these views are because we've been raised and brought up with sport. In contrast, players and cheerleaders are disadvantaged socially due to this event because they dedicate huge amounts of time to training and planning. This means that they may not be able to have time to hang out with friends and family, and they may lose contact with. Many players may also be socially disadvantaged as they may be playing against their own region or country. An example of this is Quade Cooper. He was born in Auckland, New Zealand, and at the age of 13 he moved to Brisbane, Australia. He has now been playing for the Queensland Reds from 2006 to present. Whenever he is playing a New Zealand side, he is constantly booed when he is involved in play. This has a negative effect on him socially as it affects his public profile. It gives him a bad reputation and makes him generally disliked in the community. This could also affect the way he plays as it makes him feel self-conscious and not worthy, consequently having a negative effect on his horoa. In the future, my family and friends would like to see more of the game of rugby and less of the drama that happens off-field. This means we will be focusing on what is really important in this event and not getting ourselves wound up in unnecessary drama. There are a number of people advantaged socially in New Zealand by the Super 15. For example, the community/region are advantaged socially because the matches and games attract spectators and fans from overseas. Family members may fly from overseas to stay with family and friends to watch the games. Amy Lita says that sometimes my family from overseas comes to attend some matches with us. This means a sense of community and belonging has been developed and that they feel united and together. Another example of a group advantaged socially by this event are the local businesses and franchises. They are advantaged because when a home team does well, they benefit financially due to the increased number of spectators that attend home games. For example, at the Chiefs final held at Waikato Stadium this year was sold out. This means that there will be an influx of tourists to the region/district where the game is being held. These local businesses are benefited by this as there are many more customers in the duration of this event. Another example of a group that is socially advantaged by this event are the local businesses and community. They are advantaged because the community come together and support their region. It also attracts people from overseas to come to the event. This will increase ticket sales and will help the community and local businesses. It provides a sense of community, and spectators feel a part of the team. Supporters feel connected to each other and feel like they belong. In contrast, the local community and society are disadvantaged socially by this event because if so many people are attending the matches and the events to enjoy the atmosphere, the traffic and congestion could become really bad and turn people off the idea of attending the event. Players that misbehave on and off the field could cause some issues as well, as it gives a bad name for the region. This can disadvantage a town socially, as tourism might go down and no one wants to visit the town due to its reputation. The term cultural refers to cultural values, expectations, attitudes, and values, as well as national pride. The Super 15 is culturally a significant event, and there are a number of viewpoints that reflect this. For example, spectators are advantaged culturally as watching and supporting a team can create a sense of identity. For example, you can celebrate a team's win with others who support that team as well. This means you can create a sense of belonging and involvement in something that is bigger than yourself. By having team pride and spirit, we can feel as though we are part of the community. This is a benefit to our spiritual and mental well-being. Spectators are also advantaged as we can learn about different cultures. As this competition is an international event, we are exposed to different countries and their rituals. This is a positive to our spiritual well-being as we may have a greater respect for different cultures and we may learn from them. Spectators can also be disadvantaged culturally because their own beliefs and cultural views may not be consistent with those of an opposing team. For example, a team from an opposing country may have different beliefs than your own. This means that you feel as though your own religion is being put second to theirs, or they are doing things that you do not condone. This can be a disadvantage spiritually, as you may begin to lose faith or become less tolerant to others' beliefs. For me personally, I feel this event brings many cultures together, as we have teams from 3 different countries competing in this one event. In the future, I would like to see more information about the other teams' cultures and religion, as it would be interesting to see how other countries display their pride and passion for their team. There are a number of people advantaged culturally by the Super 15. It is culturally significant on others, as role models can affect and influence how people act and feel. For example, players and coaches are advantaged culturally due to this event because they are given a celebrity status. This means that the player may have more confidence in themselves and their ability to play. This can also affect the way a player reacts to different situations. As they are under the limelight, they may be influenced to react positively to a situation in order to keep up their public profile. By having role models and being able to aspire to something is a positive to our mental and spiritual well-being. My friend Renee Foster believes that these players want to make their country proud. In contrast, players and coaches are disadvantaged culturally due to this event because if they do something that portrays them in a negative light, it isn't good for their reputation. This means that they can be negatively displayed in society, which isn't good for their public profile either. This can influence others and how they act in regards to their role models' actions. Super 15 players today are treated like celebrities. This has a negative effect on culture because they are just normal people with a talent. This means that we have such a high regard for them and such high expectations that when they do fail or do something wrong, it is thought of as immature and irresponsible. Most of them are uneducated. Money, women, everything is thrown at them. This can be a negative effect as many children see them as role models. My family and friends believe that we set too high expectations for the Super 15 rugby players. At the end of the day, they are just normal people. In the future, my friends and family would like to see more of the game and less of the players' personal lives, as that should remain personal to them. This will mean that we'll be focusing less on the mistakes they have made in life and more about the talent and ability on the playing field. There are a number of groups advantaged culturally in New Zealand by the Super 15. For example, society is advantaged culturally as this event portrays New Zealand as a rugby nation. This means it can create a sense of identity for our society. This has a positive impact on our spiritual well-being. Another example of a group advantaged culturally by this event is the local community. They are advantaged because if their local franchise or team is a major threat in the competition, it can create a sense of pride and appreciation for your region. It can also become what your region is known for. In contrast, the local community is disadvantaged culturally by this event because there are such high expectations on New Zealand's teams. Since we have won many competitions before, this means that when some of our teams don't perform the way we expect, there'll be a national outcry. For example, in 2003, the Auckland Blues won the Super 12. There were great expectations for them to win a second year in a row in 2004, however, they didn't even make the playoffs. This meant that many of the spectators lost faith in the Blues franchise, and they haven't won the championship since. This just shows that our culture has such high expectations for rugby success, and sometimes we might begin to lose faith in the sport in the country, or maybe begin to have less supporters for the team. The term economic refers to money, profits, losses, and the financial impact on society. The Super 15 is economically a significant event, and there are a number of viewpoints that reflect this. For example, spectators have to pay money to watch these games, either through Sky subscriptions or buying match tickets to watch the games live. Ticket sales, merchandise, food and beverages all include GST, a tax that the government collects and puts back into the community. This is an advantage economically, as it is an extra income that can be invested into something worthwhile in the community. For me personally, I believe this event benefits our economy greatly and affects ourselves as we are often the source of this income. We often feel as though we're being ripped off and we are paying extremely inflated costs. This can disadvantage our mental and spiritual well-being, as we may feel as though we cannot afford to attend these matches as the fee is so hefty. There are a number of people advantaged economically by the Super 15. For example, the players are advantaged economically due to this event because this is a source of income for them. In this event, teams and players earn huge amounts of money, as there is no salary cap for Super 15 teams. Former Crusaders captain Richie McCaw was estimated to earn $2.1 million New Zealand dollars in the 2012 season, boosted by $500,000 from his autobiography. This shows that the players are hugely benefited by this event, as they earn a wage and also competing for the district's glory. This also means that they gain status overseas. By being a highly paid player, they could be in contention to play for other provincial teams or even international sides. This can be an advantage to them as it is a chance to try something new. Consequently, it is a negative to the New Zealand Rugby Board, as there would be a loss in talent due to players going overseas. This could mean that we lose many of our star players to overseas industries. This could make New Zealand rugby less reputable internationally, which could be a disadvantage to our economy. My family believe that when a player gets offered a contract for an overseas club, it can be a major opportunity for them. It's a chance for them to go on an adventure in another country and getting paid millions to play the sport they love. There are a number of people advantaged economically in New Zealand by the Super 15. For example, the local businesses are advantaged economically because there is much more activity in their region due to the event. The estimates for this year's final, Chiefs vs Brumbies, based off the previous final, Chiefs vs Shark, put the economic benefit to the Waikato City at $5 million. This income comes through restaurants, bars, food vendors, and any other place that benefits from the Super 15. As this is an international event, there are many tourists from overseas also coming to the event. This creates a wider customer base for many of the local businesses in that area. Another example of a group advantaged economically by this event is the franchises themselves. They are advantaged because they benefit from ticket sales, merchandise, and food sales. This means they can invest more money back into their franchises. This can either be investing in new players, pay rises to ensure that members stay with the club, and also improving facilities. In contrast, the local community and local government are disadvantaged economically by this event because they have to invest more money into the police force, especially around big games, as there are so many people in one stadium, both from opposing sides, so you don't know how they will react to a win or loss. The police are called in to help patrol these events, as it creates a safer environment for the spectators. This means that the local council and government has to put more money aside to pay for these officers for their overtime.